The much-awaited statement by Kalonzo Musyoka communicating the position of other Azimio parties in regards to the much-taunted talks in form of a national convention between Raila Odinga and William Ruto is out. And Kalonzo Musyoka has maintained that his party, together with other Azimio parties, are not going to have those talks that Mr. Odinga so purports that Azimio will be part and parcel of. And Kalonzo has made it categorically clear that any other member of Azimio that takes part in those talks will not be regarded to be the official position of Azimio. And in my views and thoughts, I think that that is the truest statesmanship that has been exhibited, because he has clearly made it that he is going to stand with the people. Before we engage further, let's have a look at what Kalonzo said today.
A broad-based government of national unity. As Azimio constituent parties, we held our respective National Executive Council sessions to discuss the proposed Kenya Kwanza-led broad-based government of national unity. The Wiper Democratic Movement, Jubilee Party, DAP Kenya, Party of National Unity, PNU, NAC Kenya, and we want to add even ODM had their parliamentary group meeting at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Foundation. We shall not join for the straightforward reason that such actions are betrayal of the ideology, values, and tenets of both our coalition party and our constituent parties. As long as the Kenya Kwanza regime remain in place, absolutely nothing will change. A cabinet reorganization and changing of office holders will only be cosmetic. Unless, and I want to add this, unless that new cabinet will take place after what, and this is something we need to really reflect on, after what our leader, Honorable Raila Odinga, has called a convention. A convention, not a dialogue. Following that convention, then there can be engagement with regard to interim arrangements of a government of national unity. And as transitional government of national unity, following resolutions of a convention. Number 3, should any of our members opt to join the proposed Kenya Kwanza-led broad-based government of national unity, we shall not be party to that decision. They will actually only be joining in their individual capacities, not on behalf of Azimio. Finally, we reiterate our public position that when it comes to siding with Gen Z and the Kenyan people versus the Kenya Kwanza regime, our decision is as obvious as day and night. We will always side and stand with the people of Kenya. God bless Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party. God bless our country, Kenya. Thank you.
Those are Kalonzo's sentiments. But now many people have been asking, what is like the future political scope of Azimio in regards to the current split that has been orchestrated by the talks between Raila Odinga, who is the lead opposition figure in Azimio, and William Ruto, leaving other Azimio parties probably in the cold. Of course, Kalonzo has maintained in that presser that Azimio is still united, but that is just a unity of talks, but not a unity of what the future working relationships of those parties within Azimio will be like. Now, what next for Mr. Kalonzo Musyoka and Raila Odinga, and what next for Azimio as a party? I feel that Kalonzo has done the right thing. He has taken the right step that people anticipated, because when the opposition goes in bed with the government, the people are left on their own to fight for their interest, and especially at a time when the government has been targeting the lobby groups in this country, the pressure groups in this country, the civil movement groups in this country, for having participated or funded the protests against the government that started off as protests against the finance bill. I've even seen some leaders from Ukambani standing solidly behind Kalonzo and telling him that that is the right call. Here is the video.
Ni moja, hatutaki kitu inaitwa dialogue. Tunaambia Kalonzo maneno ikizidi kuziba kuendelea hivyo, ile kitu ya maana ni kutoka kwa hiyo muungano na kusimama yeye mwenyewe. Akuwe na msimamo na azijaribu kuongopeshwa na mtu ya kwamba lazima ukuwe na Raila ndio uweze kuzikika na Wakenya.
Tuwezi anza mazungumzo ambayo tayari yale ambayo yalikuwa yamefanyika bado hayajatekelezwa. Kwa hivyo hiyo ni kuonyesha kwamba hii ni mchezo wa paka na panya. Kwa hivyo mwanzo tuanze kurekebisha. Ukiangalia NADCO walikuwa wanazungumzia vitu muhimu kama economy.
Pale tunaenda na vile tunaona dalili yangu ni kuongea na Raila kwamba unganisha nyumba ya Azimio, manake wewe ni baba na mkiwa na Kalonzo mnaweza. Hizo mambo ya kutofautiana hiyo ikome kabisa, sababu nyumba hiyo inaendelea kuvunjika, Azimio hilo muungano inaendelea kuvunjika, na nyinyi ndio mtapoteza, manake Kenya Kwanza wao wako imara. Kwa hivyo mimi naona, mimi ni wasii, pale pana shida, kaeni chini, mzungumze, murekebishe, na nimesikia hata wewe Raila unaweza kuomba msamaha kwa vile viliendelea katika hiyo nyumba ya Odinga.
That call by these leaders, together with Kalonzo and other Azimio principals, even Eugene Wamalwa on the other day and Martha Karua, they've termed it that the resolution to go and work with Ruto's side is just a cosmetic process and lacks no basic legitimacy. So, I feel that this is the right time now for Kalonzo to craft his own political future ahead, because he supported in and out the opposition leader Raila Odinga, and every time after supporting Raila Odinga and pushing for the pressure on the government side, Raila goes in bed with the government and leaves them in the cold. So, I've also seen the Embakasi member of parliament who had indicated his intent to wrestle the party position leadership from Raila Odinga say, and he has just written some moments ago, that my decision is to be with the people. I will not support this defunct government no matter the consequences. So this is Kalonzo's moment, and the decision may be by Raila Odinga to go and work with the government is ideally translating to Kalonzo's moment to push him. Just the same way, some people were saying that the decision of Ruto to sideline Rigathi Gachagua's side was a political milestone or a political space that he was giving Gachagua to thrive. That is the same thing that is going to work or happen to Kalonzo Musyoka in regards to those thoughts. This is his time maybe to now reach out to such young politicians such as Babu Owino and the likes. I know not everybody is going to support such calls, especially within the opposition, and for them to form a solidable team that will see that they have a run against maybe Ruto's and Raila's side come 2027. Already, there were reports that Kalonzo at some point wanted to be part of those talks, then muted on the same, because he was pushing for the NADCO dialogue report to be implemented instead of a fresh round of dialogues. And that source also indicated that with the hope that the dialogue report on NADCO dialogue report would be implemented, then it provided for a position for the official opposition leader, something that Kalonzo was set to benefit from, given that Raila was going to vie for the AUC seat chairpersonship. So, with Kalonzo being the official opposition leader recognized in law with the NADCO report, then that would have given him a go-ahead to go and have a good solid stab at the presidency come 2027. But now he has to work with mathematics and optics outside that. This is also maybe an opportunity for Azimio to realign, because there is no way that Raila will participate in the Grand National Convention talks and have maybe some slots or some spaces within the government, and for Azimio to assume that they are still intact. This is now their moment as other Azimio principles to realign. Of course, there has been talks of a political offing with the blessings of former President Uhuru Kenyatta in the offing. That would see the former president support Kalonzo to have a stab at the presidency with his blessings come 2027. You know, for a long time, Raila has been capitalizing on the masses. That has been the political interpretation. And when the Gen Zs went on the streets and said that enough to Ruto's government, enough to Ruto's populism ideologies, then they expected that Raila would come and stand with the masses. But this time round, they read it differently. So maybe this is Kalonzo's moment to reach out to those masses and reach out to those Gen Zs and reach out to other Kenyans who are feeling disfranchised by the deal between Mr. Odinga and Mr. Ruto, and capitalize on this and make a formidable mass political party that will resonate with the masses who are not in favor of the talks between President Ruto and Raila Odinga. The other political implication of this would see maybe Kalonzo Musyoka reach out to Rigathi Gachagua to form a political side or a political formation that would see them have an attempt at the presidency come 2027, with sources indicating that it might be a Kalonzo Gachagua ticket. But those are political developments that you're waiting to see, because Azimio now will have to resort to the former OCA. That was One Kenya Alliance that it didn't have Raila. You remember it was renamed Azimio One Kenya Alliance after they incorporated Raila Odinga. So they might reform to that, and having reformed to that, there are other core principles that are equally demanding for more powerful slots within that. So it would be actually interesting to see how things work out. Of course, those talks between Raila and Ruto have or are being said that they are against the wishes of former President Uhuru Kenyatta, who didn't want Raila to work with Ruto, because there are sources that are indicating that Mr. Uhuru reached out to Raila almost 2 times for meetings outside the country in order for them to strategize on how they'll make or they'll continue piling pressure on the government of Ruto that they'd seen was now failing. It is even said that that time that Uhuru came out and said that there are some political betrayers in this country, that he was likely indicating the resolve of Raila to work with Ruto and to champion for his cause to be the AUC seat chairpersonship. It is said that Uhuru advised Raila against going for the AUC seat chairpersonship, but Raila was a bit cold and hot, blowing a bit cold and hot on this, because he had not made his decision as to whether he was going to be working with the government so as to see him get the AUC seat or to be remaining within the opposition. As Uhuru had indicated to Raila within those same reports that he will gang up or he will mobilize the Mount Kenya region to support Raila's presidency come 2027 or even earlier than 2027. So you see the level of seriousness that was in this. So what are the other political interpretations of such moves between Raila and Ruto, and the moves or the decision by Kalonzo and his team not to join those dialogues that are purported? This will have a serious implication that the NADCO report that was spent on, taxpayers' money was spent on to be deliberated upon, might not be effected, and it might not go through Parliament as it was supposed to be. So it might be as well as maybe dead, and maybe they'll pick a few things that to Mr. Odinga's side, they'll feel that those are the advantageous items to them. So maybe it would be interesting to be seen whether the official opposition role leader will be entrenched in the government, because people are asking what will be the role of Raila in this new government, because some are even indicating that chances of Raila at AUC seat continue to grow dismally, and maybe probably he's not interested in becoming the next AUC seat chairperson. And also this is another political interpretation that the working relationship between Rigathi Gachagua and William Ruto will continue to suffer setbacks, because Gachagua had always indicated that he doesn't want Raila anywhere near the government, and if Raila will get into government with Ruto, then Ruto will have absolved himself from the political pressures and intimidations maybe that Gachagua's side used to push to him. And Gachagua will probably, Musalia Mudavadi, right, not Gachagua, will have more consolidation at the seat of or at power, because with Raila on their side, and Mudavadi already has a good working relationship between him and Raila, now he'll consolidate more powers than even it is seen right now. He'll be the super CS. The Prime Cabinet Secretary slot will still remain on under him, as other political formations are going to take place. And another interpretation or another effect that this one will have is the pressure on Moses Wetangula. You remember Wetangula had maintained that he was not going to fold his Ford party to join the Kenya Kwanza party that was being planned for. So that pressure might actually come real on him, and he'll see that, you know, with the coming of Raila Odinga, with the growing power of Musalia Mudavadi, then he might be rendered politically useless. So maybe that might inform a pressure on him to formally also join that Kenya Kwanza party that was in place or was in the offing. And Raila's coming to government and Kalonzo's decision to stay away from this will also mean that we are likely to see a reorganization in Parliament, because now the opposition will be divided. It will need a reorganization in terms of the opposition parliamentary leadership, and also on the majority side there will be reorganization in order to support some of the principles and stand that the people that will be coming into this Grand National Unity Government will have. That marks the end of our analysis. Thank you.